This week on the $1 Million Plan, we speak with Melissa, who wants to retire in just a few years. I think she's only 40 years old, so she's retiring early. We want to understand, she wants to understand how she can do that, and she joins us on the program now. Hello, Melissa.
Hello.
So you're 40? Or did I make that number up, or are you 40 years old?
I'm 40.
I'm going to be 40 in November, right? So that means how's 40? Like, I'm not there yet. How's it feel?
Doesn't feel like I'm there.
Really?
Time went fast.
Yeah. Yeah, you have any kids? I mean, because I know that my children, my 8 and my 3-year-old, or my 8 and my 5-year-old, they've aged me. Do you have children?
No kids.
See, that's why you sound so young. So you want to retire in just a few years? Help us understand that.
I am a government employee, and my minimum retirement age would be 53. The maximum would be 57. So either way it goes, I still don't have much time left.
Okay, so you got to get out.
Yes.
You know, I guess I didn't realize you had to get out at some point. What do you know why? Or I know that's just the way it is, but do you know what the
I'm
reason?
law enforcement, and there's different rules for law enforcement.
Excellent. All right, so 53 to 57. Are you going to really shut it down at that point, or do you think you'll do something else?
My goal is to set everything up where that it can be shut down, and then if I choose to work, it would be because I want to, not because I have to.
Do you like your job right now?
Yes.
That's nice to hear. It's always nice. I mean, this sounds weird, but if you've ever listened to the show, it's just weird. But it's always nice to hear when a government employee loves their job. You know, like that because sometimes, you know this, Melissa, there's that stigma that sometimes the people who work for the government don't like to work for the government. You've heard this, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you're different in that particular way. Let's look at some of the financial aspects of your life. Your gross income right now is how much?
It's 111,000.
100.
What I made last year.
Okay, $111,000, and then what does that make your monthly take-home pay?
My monthly I have a lot of stuff coming out of my check, but what I bring home is around $3,400. $3,400 every 2 weeks.
Okay, $3,400 every 2 weeks, and let's go through some of those other details.
No, I take that back. No, it's
$3,400 a month.
$3,400 a month.
Okay.
Yes.
Your long-term savings, which you've put a ton of money away in a couple different vehicles, we've got you just around $273,000. Are those the numbers you have as well?
Yes.
Melissa, how long have you been saving? That's a lot of money, $270-some thousand. How long have you been saving towards that amount?
I started when I was about 25, and then when I got this job and my income went higher, I continued living on a lower income and just started pushing everything towards retirement.
So you have been focused on retirement since your 20s?
Yes.
That's unusual, right? I mean, are your friends and colleagues and similar to you in that way, or do you find yourself unique from a planning perspective?
I am the total opposite. Everyone comes to me with questions, but never take any advice. So
Welcome to my world.
I'm the complete opposite of everybody.
That's funny. Am I allowed to ask you like what you do within law enforcement in the government, or is it classified and I don't have clearance?
No, it's not classified, but I'm a Border Patrol.
Border Patrol. Interesting.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever talked to a Border Patrol agent. So like if I go in and out of the country, do you work at the border like you're at like a booth and you say, "Hey, why are you here?" That sort of stuff?
No, that's customs.
Oh,
they're the ones you find at the booths and at the airports.
Okay, so you're walking around.
We're the ones that walks around and catch everybody coming across away from the booths.
Right. Got it. Okay, excellent. So let's look deeper back into your financial life right now. You're putting quite away each month. I mean, you're hitting the max at $1,500 a month plus a match of $414. I assume that's going to your Roth. So $1,914 a month going towards retirement, right?
About 1,958.
1,958.
So it's
And then your savings account balance, you've got $50,000 for an emergency fund, And it looks like you also have a house fund too. Are you going to buy a house here soon?
Yes, I'm looking for later this summer. So yes, I have that house fund.
So are you going to get a 15-year mortgage, which I'm going to ask that.
Yes, I'm looking for either 10 or 15, depending on the price of the house that I can find.
At what point are you going to start hosting this show? Because I think you are amazing, and you're clearly making amazing decisions. Has it always been a one-income household for you, whether it be you just have one job or two jobs, or a significant other with another income, or has it just been you?
It's just me, but I when I was in college, I started. I was always kind of a workaholic, so I always worked two jobs, and my part-time job is the money that always went straight into savings that I didn't spend unless I needed something worked on my house or, some emergency. And then when I got this job, and it was the first time I've actually just worked one job, then I just kind of, like I said, kept my expenses low, and then all the extra just went towards savings or retirement.
Do you still have a part-time job, or just the Border Patrol job?
Just the Border Patrol job.
Now, this may not be how it is. Any chance that, like, when you catch someone coming across, and instead of like immediately detaining them and then doing whatever you do you ever say like, hey, let's have a dance battle, and if you win, no harm, no foul? Like, that never happens, right?
Well, no, because I can't dance, so I lose every time.
Have you? So here's the thing. Like I said, we're the same age. I used to be able to dance. Like in 1996 to 1998 were sort of my heyday of dancing. Were you a good dancer at one point in time, or have you just never been blessed that way?
No, I've never been blessed that way. And it was funny because I used to be all off in the music and had a studio and everything, and all my friends would laugh at me because they said, you got rhythm to do this, but you can't dance.
That's weird. So you have rhythm to do music, but you can't dance. That is highly unusual. But let's be honest. I mean, not to get really weird here, Mary J. Blige is one of the greatest musicians of all time, but she looks like she's on fire when she dances. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Why did I just throw Mary J. Blige on the bus on my podcast? I feel like I just disrespected one of the greatest musicians of all, but it's true, and the truth is important. Let's take a look at your $1 Million Day. Based on your efforts, your $1 Million Day is November 4th of 2027. So right around that time, you're going to almost be forced to retire. You've got, 13 to 17 more years, and 10 years from now, you'll be at that age.
That's good.
That is good. Millionaire at age 50 at this current pace. Now, if your income goes up and you continue to save more money, and this will never happen, but if the 401k limits go up, or if Roth limits go up, then you're good to go. Let's look a little deeper where you are at age 67. I know you're going to retire at 50, between 53 and 57, but at age 67, you'll have $4.54 million if you're able to keep up the income pace. So let's say you leave the Border Patrol job and you go do something else of equivalent income, or at least equivalent ability to save. By 67, you have $4.5 million, which is $10,500 a month in after-tax income, or $5,400 a month in today's dollars income if we adjust for inflation. But do you have a pension as well?
Yes.
So this is like the ideal situation, right? You've got money coming out your ear. I mean, you can't dance, but you got money coming out of your ears. Like, how much is your pension?
I think it's about 34% of my pay, and I did a rough calculation, and I think it'll come out to about $3,000 a month.
Wow, that's great. I mean,
if I retire at 53.
And the crazy thing is, right now you're living on $3,400 a month, right? So you wouldn't even have to take that much out of your investments to do it. Now, what we do need to account for to some degree, if you're going to retire prior to 59 and a half, a majority of your retirement assets are not easily accessible prior to 59 and a half. What's your plan for that gap?
Well, actually, it will be because, like I said, because I'm in law enforcement, I have a different rule set.
Oh, that's right.
So as long as I have a minimum of 20 years in and retire at age 50, I will have access to the TSP. I just won't have access to the Roth IRA.
Okay, so really at this point in time, let's take a different approach here. What could go wrong, Melissa? What could go wrong? What do you think could go wrong in your situation?
Well, the only other caveat of my situation is to get this job, I had to move from my home state.
Okay.
So in my home state, I do have a raw set of land, and my plan was to build a house on there. So that's why I'm trying to figure out other deals of saving that I can touch at age 53.
Right.
Because my plan is to go back there and build a home with cash and not have a mortgage in retirement.
Do you realize if most Americans were like you, we would not have the financial crisis we're in? Like, do you ever? I'm sure you don't lay awake at night thinking, "Man, if more people were like me, we'd all be better." But it's true. It's true.
Well, actually, I bore a lot of my coworkers because a lot of the ones that are 20-something that comes in, I try to talk them into doing the same thing I'm doing.
I feel like you should, if you're willing to, you should share this with them. I don't know if you actually share your numbers ever with them, but this is the sort you would have $4.5 million if you stay at your current pace through 67, which I know it's going to change a little bit, but you could be a millionaire by the time you're 50 as a law enforcement officer, which a lot of people don't think is possible.
Exactly.
Okay, so a vehicle to grow. Here's the challenge. Like once you max out qualified vehicles, which mean retirement vehicles, which generally mean you can't touch to your 59 and a half, then you have to go what's called the non-qualified route, which simply means there are going to be tax consequences when you have growth in those investments. So you can be in, on a Vanguard account or a Betterment account, any sort of brokerage account, and just with similar investments that you have in your Roth or your TSP. But each year when you do your taxes, you probably will have gains and you'll have to pay tax on those gains. But the money is easily accessible at any age, at any point in time. Have you had much experience using just non-qualified brokerage accounts?
No, I haven't. The only thing I did is last year I set up just several individual stocks, and I just invested $1,500 just to see what it'll do over time, just to play with.
Sure. I mean, that's a good way to
And
dip your toe in.
Yeah, and I've got that set up where it just automatically reinvests any growth into it. So it's up to like $1,900 now.
In 1 year. It's fantastic. What? So help me understand. What platform did you use to do that?
I went through my bank. I have an online bank, and I just went through them to do it, and I just picked just several. I had no idea what I was doing. I just picked a few individual stocks just to play with. I just figured how much money I was willing to lose that I, was okay with, and that was the $1,500, and that was it.
Now, it could make some sense to go back to your bank and that same platform and then buy more diversified investments to help you build that house, like an exchange-traded fund, also called an ETF, or a mutual fund, even an index fund, something that's just broader-based, more diversified. Because, yeah, there is risk investing in individual stocks, and you understand that. But when it comes to funding this house, you're going to need something a little more conservative probably than individual stocks. So maybe talk to that same person or group that assisted you with the stock purchase about even buying, index funds to get you to that point. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
I actually didn't, because I did it all online myself, so I actually didn't even talk to anyone. So, but that gives me a point to start with.
Yeah, how is your risk tolerance, and how are you invested? Are you in sort of broad-based things? Are you conservative? Are you aggressive?
Kind of middle of the road. I do have some that's a little bit aggressive, like my Roth IRA. I have it. It's a little bit more aggressive than my TSP.
Okay.
But all of them are. Even the TSP is more of a mutual fund type based program, and then my Roth IRA is all 4 different types of mutual funds or index funds. I've got a mixture of the two.
So, as we look at what could go wrong, I mean, as you approach that time in your life of retirement, the good news is it seems like a majority of your income is going to be satisfied via the pension. So that is to say, you won't even have to draw that much off of your investments in retirement if you don't want to. That means if the market corrects, which means unfortunately go down, if the market corrects close to retirement age, it really won't affect you that much because a majority of your income is via the pension. So, as we explore what could go wrong, that can't even really go that wrong for you.
Yeah.
This is a sweet little deal here. I kind of like this. What do you have your account set up to go to someone in the event of your passing? I mean, is all sort of your final details all worked out in terms of who gets your money when something happens to you?
A majority of it is. I still have a few things to finish out. I just downloaded one of the online will things, so I'm going to work on that one. But a lot of my accounts do have a beneficiary. I have a friend of mine who her kids are like my nieces because she and I are both only children. And I've got stuff set up for her, and if something happens to me before her, and then otherwise as her kids get older, it's set up towards them.
And I'll send you my name and social security number to put as a contingent beneficiary on there as well, which is standard for being on the show. Don't worry about that. It's just standard form. What else? What other questions do you have? Your situation is fantastic. It makes me very happy. Anything else I can answer?
Well, I was wondering, since we were talking about the brokerage account and setting that up, which I think that'll be my next step once I get the house set up, is when you have to pay taxes on that, is that based on your tax rate, or are investments a different vehicle altogether? I'm just curious of how that will affect me.
Well, it's funny. Basically, what we're talking about is the concept of capital gains and how those are taxed, and it moves around all the time. It constantly moves around. So I'm going to read directly from the internet, which, Melissa, you know what that means? It's probably true. Capital gain is an increase in the value of a capital asset, like a stock or a mutual fund or something, that gives it a higher worth than the purchase price. The gain is not realized until the asset is sold. But here's the thing. Sometimes within a mutual fund, they buy and sell securities within the mutual fund. Like, you won't have taxes on your individual stocks until you sell them. But within a diversified investment, a capital gain can occur because they may trade out this stock for that stock. But that doesn't mean you sold out of the investment itself. And so the capital gain, if it's a short-term capital gain, is 1 year or less, or there's such thing as a long-term capital gain, which means that the asset was held for longer than a year, and you do have to claim it on your income taxes. I'm trying to look at the current tax consequences. I should know this. I just don't. Let's see. Here we go. Long-term capital gains rate is 20% in the highest tax bracket. Most taxpayers qualify for a 15% long-term capital gains rate. And if it's short-term, it's taxed at your ordinary income level, right? So if one of your mutual funds that you hold is held, particularly, let's say it owns Disney, and they sell Disney within 5 months, whatever the gain there is when you get paid out on it would be taxed at your current income tax rate.
Okay.
I know as people watch this show and they just saw me look that up, they'll think, shouldn't you know this? Yeah, I did know that when I was a financial advisor. But now I know it because of the internet. So relax, everybody. What else? That's a good question. What else? What else can I Google for you on air?
Actually, I think that was it, because now that I know that amount, that gives me some basis, because I know all of mine is going to be long-term holdings. And depending on what my tax bracket is by the time I retire, it'll either be the 15 or 20% if it hasn't changed by then. So, just any other advice do you have that I might have, be able to tweak anything else, or did you see anything else that I might be able to find useful to help me?
Just take some dance lessons. I mean, seriously. I mean, if you're gonna protect this country, you got to be able to win in a dance battle. Like, think if the laws change. A lot of stuff going on with immigration right now. Think if the law changes to Border Patrol has to get in a dance off with someone that tries to come over here illegally, and then you suck at your job all of a sudden, right? And I can't have that. I'm an American, so get dance lessons. That's my last piece of advice.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. You're wonderful. You've done a great job. So that's it this week on the $1 Million Plan. Melissa is a delight. I wish you were all like her, but you're not. If you were like her, I wouldn't have a job. So try to be like her, though. And but Be a good dancer. That's it this week. If you want to be on the show, be on the show. PeteThePlanner.com/podcast. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.
This is where I came from. Planet Lovetron, where we drop love bombs, funk missiles, and live in soul shelters. No helter-skelter. The heat don't swelter because everybody stays cool. Left many moons ago to bring the philosophies of my ancestors to another place, God. Picked the third rock, gave me to my earth family, and told me to create, and so I am. Pen in my hand, microphone on the stand. Over vinyl, I command and demand. Magnificence in an instance, I can make you dance, cry, or love. Fly as a dove, released from Everest. The fresh is fresh, and you can call me E.T. Word to John Tesh. Let me bless this harmonic presentation. It's amazing, so amazing. I'm the reason. Salutations, I bring you Lovetron greetings from a faraway land. I am the sole controller. Put the remote down and let me take control. You're now a part of my zone, so enjoy yourself. Lovetron can restore your health. I bring you greetings, salutations. How you doing? And is that how y'all say it? The tinkling of the keys is an homage to the little star. I sojourn over poetic descriptions of sound and travel to my other world. Out of this world, spaceship on my arm took me home, fueled by the ink and the megabytes and the hypertext transfer protocol, stronger than the Skynet and the Terminator. I push faders into warp speed, glide with ease, creating a breeze they call a black hole. Event horizon, no rear view concerns. This I adjourn, and beats I burn. This I adjourn, and beats I burn. Salutations, I bring you Lovetron greetings from a faraway land. I am the sole controller. Put the remote down and let me take control. You're now a part of my zone, so enjoy yourself. Lovetron can restore your health. I bring you greetings, salutations. How you doing? And is that how y'all say it?